Today, we're in Judge Robert McBurney's court in Fulton County, Georgia. We have a defendant who is charged with aggravated assault because he pointed something that goes bang at another person. The defendant said he is a Vietnam vet, and he clearly has some medical and mental health issues, but he's a cheery old fella. And in the end, everyone in court treats him fairly and with kid gloves. Roll footage, LawNerds.
No, come on. Oh.
You're welcome to be, if it helps him, you can be right there.
Thank you.
Sure. Ms. Rivers, good morning. Are you ready to go?
Good morning, Judge. Yes, I am ready.
Excellent. This is position 2 on our trial calendar, State versus Marvin Tank, 22 SC 184534. Mr. Tank is represented by Mr. Tolles, who's here in court with him. Ms. Dilligard is handling this for the state. Mr. Tank, I'm Judge McBurney. I've seen you on the screen a bunch of times, but now it's in person. Mr. Tolles tells me that you're ready to enter a plea in your case. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Dilligard is going to put you under oath in just a moment, and she's going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Oh.
I need you to answer those questions to the best of your ability. If at any point you're confused by something that's asked, or you can't hear it, or anything like that, will you let Mr. Tolles or me know that?
Sure will.
Great. And if you ever need to sit, let me know. For now, we're going to keep you standing right there, okay?
All right, good.
Sounds good. Ms. Dilligard, when you are ready.
Please raise your right hand.
Right.
You swear or affirm that any statement or testimony that you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can lower your hand, and please state your true, correct, and legal name for the record.
Marvin Joseph Tanks.
Mr. Tanks, are you at this time taking or under the influence of any medicine, drugs, or alcohol?
No.
You're not taking any medicine?
Yes, I'm taking medication.
Okay. Tell me what you take medication for.
High blood pressure and 1 pill for high blood pressure, 1 pill for diabetes, and sleep medication.
Okay.
Amitriptyline.
Did you take any sleep medication in the last couple hours?
No, that was last night.
Okay, so it helps you go to bed at night.
Yeah, 9 o'clock, take it every time.
Okay. Does the blood pressure medication or the diabetes medication, does that make you woozy or confused?
No, I've been taking it since the late early 70s.
Okay.
When I came home from the war, I got on my medication. So.
Okay. So you are understanding what we're talking about.
Oh, yes, sir, I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, can I interject one question,
Please.
sir? Do you take any medications for any type of mental health or?
Yeah, amitriptyline.
Okay.
I take for
What do you take that? What is that?
post-traumatic stress. I have post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay. PTSD, you
Yes,
take
sir.
medication for that.
Yeah.
Did you take that medication? When do you take it? Morning or night?
Morning, nighttime. Now, it's everything 9 o'clock at night.
9 o'clock at night. Did you
Yes, sir.
take it last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tolles.
Mr. Tanks, how old are you?
78. 79, I'm sorry.
And how far have you gone in school?
Hospital education. I also went to military school when I was in the military. Vietnam veteran service.
Do you understand that you've been charged with the following offenses? 1 count of aggravated assault and 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Yeah, I have the firearm in the car.
So I want to make sure we answer your question, but the question that you have in front of you is, do you understand what you're charged with in this case? And
Yeah.
charged with 2 things. You're charged with supposedly pointing a gun at a Ms. Fannie Smith. That's the aggravated assault. And then you're also charged with having a gun when you did that, because of course the claim is you pointed a gun at someone. You understand the 2 things you're charged
I
with?
understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you have a question about that?
No.
Okay. We'll keep going.
That's what happened.
Okay.
I ain't got to be sad and die about it. Yeah. That's all in the car.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Let Ms. Dilligard keep going.
We did that best. We always have kept weapons, a lot of weapons around.
Okay, we'll talk about weapons at the end.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All we have.
Answer her question.
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to those charges we just stated?
Yes. I'm good.
Do you understand that if you plead not guilty or remain silent and refuse to enter a plea at all, then the state is required to prove those charges against you at a jury trial.
No, I want no jury trial. Nah, no jury
But do
trial.
you understand that if you wanted to plead not guilty, we would have to prove these charges at a jury trial?
I understand. Oh,
Have you had an opportunity to review the waivers of rights form with your attorney?
We did not do one.
No, I told Mr. Tolles they didn't need to do that because you'd be covering it.
Have you had enough time to speak with your lawyer about all of the charges that are in this indictment?
yes, I have. Yes.
Would you like more time to discuss the case with your lawyer?
I agree with what he got, what he got said today. I'm going along with that. I agree with all of that. Things look pretty good, but I like that.
Are you satisfied with your lawyer's services?
Yes, I am. Uh-huh.
Counsel, do you waive formal reading of the indictment for purposes
Yes, we
of the
do.
plea? Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment for purposes of the plea?
Yes, we do.
Mr. Tanks, do you remember being arrested on these charges?
Well, yes, I do. Yes, yeah.
Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge that you are pleading guilty to today? So you're charged with aggravated assault. The minimum and maximum on that is 1 to 20 years. However, we've agreed to reduce the aggravated assault to disorderly conduct, which is a maximum of 12 months. And then we also agreed for the possession of a firearm normally is 5 years consecutive is the maximum. We've agreed to reduce that to pointing a pistol under OCGA 16-11-102. The maximum on that is 12 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Do you understand that today you are entering a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend the following sentence to the court? To judge on count 1, we agreed to reduce it to disorderly conduct under OCGA 16-11-39 for 12 months probation. On count 2, reduce to pointing a pistol under OCGA 16-11-102 for 12 months probation consecutive to count 1 for a total of 24 months probation.
Okay.
The conditions we've agreed on all, but there's one that's kind of looming that we're going to leave in the discretion of the court.
Okay.
So no contact with the victim, to continue with his VA treatment plan, and to take all prescribed medicines determined by that plan. Also, any additional treatment required by probation. No drugs or alcohol unless prescribed, and no firearms or replica of firearms. The one condition that is kind of in the loom, which was one of his bond conditions, was to move from this incident location. The victim still lives there as well.
Oh, okay.
And so that would be the request of the state. However, we do understand that Mr. Tank's age and ability to move is stipend, so we'll leave that condition up to the court.
Okay. It would make no contact pretty complicated if they live in the same place.
Yes, Judge, my understanding is that it's, speaking with defense counsel, it's a large apartment complex. They live on opposite ends.
Oh, so same place doesn't mean it's a 3-bedroom house and Ms. Smith is in 1 bedroom and Mr. Tank is in another. He's in unit G17, I'm making this up, and she's in A9, but it's the same apartment complex.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, we'll talk about that more.
Do you understand that to be the recommendation that myself and your attorney discussed?
Yes.
Do you understand that the court is not required to accept the state's recommended sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand that the court has the right to sentence you to the maximum possible sentence on each charge? You have to say yes or no.
Yes.
Do you understand that if there are multiple charges to which you're pleading guilty today, that the court also has the right to run those sentences consecutively?
Yes.
Do you understand that if the court decides to order a sentence that differs from what you were expecting, that you have the right to withdraw that plea?
Yes.
Do Do you understand that if you're currently on probation or parole, your probation and parole may be revoked based on your entering of a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit?
Understand.
Do you understand that if you're on probation, you must follow all of the special conditions of your probation?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you fail to follow all the special conditions of your probation, then you will be subject to revocation and of that probation for the balance of your sentence?
Yes.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes.
Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, I am.
Do you understand that by entering a plea of guilty today, you are waiving any and all defenses, including any mental health defense?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel, the right to the presumption of innocence, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges at a trial?
Yes.
Is it your decision to waive these rights, which means not to use them, and enter a guilty plea today?
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea?
No.
Is it your decision to enter a guilty plea because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Tanks, how do you plead to the reduced charge of disorderly conduct and the reduced charge to pointing a pistol in indictment number 22 SC 184534?
Yes.
The question is whether you're pleading guilty or not guilty. If you plead guilty, we move forward. If you plead not guilty, guilty. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
You understand that you only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
You understand that if you wish to challenge the voluntariness of your guilty plea, you must do so by filing a habeas corpus petition?
Yes.
Do you understand that for a misdemeanor charge, you only have 12 months from today to file a habeas corpus petition?
Yes.
Judge, if this case were to proceed to trial, the evidence would show that on August 5th, 2022, Atlanta Police Department responded to a dispute call at Oglethorpe Place Apartments. The victim is Fanny Smith, stated that she was walking her dog and disposing of his poop in a receptacle near the defendant's vehicle. According to Ms. Smith, the defendant rolled down his window and asked why she was so close to his car. He then reached over and grabbed his firearm and pointed it towards her. Ms. Smith denied having any previous issues with the defendant, and all of this occurred in Fulton County, Georgia. State has been in contact with the victim. Victim's wishes is primarily for the defendant to receive the treatment and help that is needed. And that is all from this.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Jackson. How are you doing?
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm well. How are you?
I'm all right. Do you have any criminal history information on Mr. Tank?
Yes, sir. He has 9 cycles. The last arrest was July the 14th, 2023 in Fulton County for a failure to appear. The underlying charge was not listed. He did receive first offender treatment in 2018 for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. That case was sealed February the 14th, 2023. He does have 1 misdemeanor conviction that was in 2008 for disorderly conduct. Nothing in addition, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. So, Mr. Tolles, share with me what you want to, and if you have information about it, let me know a little bit about this first offender. Charge-wise, it sounds awfully similar to what this is, and I just want to make sure we're going to keep that apartment complex calm and that Mr. Tank doesn't have a proclivity of getting frustrated about something that maybe he misapprehends, and then all of a sudden there's a gun brandished.
Understood, Judge. The issue, Judge, was that he possessed a gun. And in his mental health condition, that should have never been, that was probably like mistake number one, because I don't think it was.
Probably 1 through 10, right?
Yeah, because he's PTSD, he's being seen by a doctor, his age and he's getting up there in age. And so he should have never even had a gun. And so both cases, I think, were probably like similar, like where because of his PTSD, it was triggered by the young lady being behind him. It wasn't anything that was targeted at her. They never had any issues or any problems. It was just that paranoia of just having someone behind him and behind his car and so close, because that was the question that was posed, like, why are you so close to my car? It was more of a paranoia thing. And so that's when the gun was produced. He never meant the victim any harm. And in the time that after he's gotten arrested, or anytime that he's been on bond, he's never done anything to her. I remember at a hearing, she had mentioned coming in contact with him one time, and then upon him seeing, he walked the other way, which is what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And so he's not a harm to anyone, Judge. And now that his family is, and I think when he was with mental health court for a veterans court for a little bit, they went in, they what is the word I'm using? Approved his home. They approved his home. And so for a very long time, even during this case, there was no provision for him to not be in that home. It was just that when he had gotten revoked because he didn't successfully complete the veterans program, largely in part because you can tell he's not the type, he's not going to be able to sit down in front of a circle and things of that nature and talk about drug. It just wasn't the right program for him, so he got revoked. When we were trying to get him his bond reinstated, the victim had come up and had just said something about that. But this is like almost a year and a half into the case, but she did not provide any information that Mr. Tanks ever threatened her or anything. Which my argument would be that that's why we have the aggravated stalking statutes. Mr. Tanks has lived in his house for 10 years, and so and it's his home. It's everything that he has, and with his age, it was hard for him to move out. And then when his family tried to get him a new place, that was a lot that contributed to a lot of his incarceration. Nobody would do it because he had all these, he had all these pending charges, the ag assault, things of that nature. And he also gets assistance with the federal government to get reduced housing. So it was a hardship, and I think it was an unnecessary hardship because he's not in any way harmed. I don't even know if he saw her again, would he even know who she was? Because I think that question was posed, like, did he recognize you? Did he appear to recognize you? She wasn't sure. And so I'm asking the court, he's been there, Judge. He was on the ankle monitor as well, all this time as well. And all he's done is, he's pretty much on house arrest except for his appointments. All he's done is just go home, go to his doctor's appointments. He's not bothering anybody. The guns isn't an issue. So we're asking the court to follow the recommendation, but allow him to live in his home. It would be a great hardship. And I'm just hoping that you can just see by my client's demeanor that, he's up there, Judge, and the mental health is there. And so, but he's got great family support. His sister always comes to court with him. They make sure that he's doing right. And I think that since the 2.5 years that he's been on bond, he's not had a firearm. He hasn't had any more assault cases. He hasn't had anything. And so I just think it would be unnecessary. I thought it was unnecessary at the time. I would still think it would be to remove him from his home of 10 years. And so in light of the fact that the state has now prosecuted this as a misdemeanor and understands that it wasn't any malicious intent against the victim, that it was more PTSD based, that I'm asking the court to follow the state's recommendation, but allow him to stay in his home. Obviously, a strict no contact order with the victim, and she can be advised that if there's any harassment, intimidation, or anything like that, contact the DA, contact the police. We'll get an aggravated stalking warrant for him immediately, and then we can move him to the Fulton County Jail. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And so another thing that we'd ask for, Judge, and I talked to the state about this earlier, was that we're asking for credit against that sentence for the time he served, because he did do, I want to say, she said 160
I've got the numbers here. I'm going to talk about that with Mr. Tank.
And just give him credit for the time that he did serve for the 2 stints that he was in. But Judge, it's been an honor and a privilege working with his family. Mr. Tank served his country. You know, he did a lot of things that a lot of people didn't want to do, and he came back and he's paid an ultimate price. And so I would ask the court to recognize his service and his sacrifice and allow him to live out his golden years. We've gotten rid of the guns, so I don't think there's, again, any issue. So I would just ask the court to rule as, but allow him to, and give him credit for the time he served. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Tanks, I have a couple questions for you, and then I'm going to see if you have any questions. First, who is here with you?
This is my baby sister, Bunny, Tanks Hood.
Last name is Hood?
H-U-I-T-T-E, Hewitt.
Hewitt.
H-E-W-I-T-T.
All right, Ms. Hewitt, thank you for being here. You don't live with your brother, but you're here to help support him. Is that correct?
Yes, we've done this constantly and consistently throughout this entire process.
Does anyone live with your brother in his apartment?
No.
Okay. Mr. Tanks,
I'm 7 minutes away from him.
you're close. That's good. Mr. Tanks, do you get disability or Social Security? How do you get food on the table in your apartment?
I'm disabled by the government, and I'm tired from the post office and board education.
Okay. So you have a pension?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
disabled, Vietnam.
Got it.
And citizens.
You served overseas in Vietnam?
Yes, I served in Vietnam.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your service.
15 years. In all.
Do you have a driver's license?
Oh, yes, sir. I have a driver's license.
Do you drive?
Yes.
What do you drive?
07 Buick.
How often do you drive your 07 Buick?
Yeah, yes, sir.
How often did you drive it here?
No. My sister brought me.
Okay. Why would you be driving? What do you need to drive for?
Post bank.
Okay.
All that what me and most of them.
Your basic needs.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you last have a driving test?
I think last year. I had a two. I got a 2045. I got a brand new license just now.
Okay.
Brand new license.
Are you wearing an ankle monitor?
Oh, yes, I am.
All right, that's going to come off real soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. This big 31 anyway.
Okay.
Because I was in the program.
Do you have any guns in your apartment?
No, sir. No, sir. No guns.
I've asked what I need to ask. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
No? Well, Mr. Tank.
That's fine.
Okay.
I deal with that.
Mr. Tank, I find that there is a factual basis for your plea, meaning, based on what I've heard from both the prosecutor and from your lawyer, it sounds like you got a little upset with this lady and did something you should not have done. I also find that your plea is what we call knowing, meaning you've understood what we talked about, and voluntary, meaning no one's forcing you to enter this plea, but you're ready to be done with this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I'm going to accept your plea. Mr. Tolles, is it all right if someone from my office signs the indictment indicating the guilty plea to 2 misdemeanors?
Yeah.
Signs for you.
Yeah, we have no objection to that.
All right, Ms. Dilligard, can we sign for you?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Tanks, is it okay if we put your signature on the document indicating that you pled guilty to the 2 misdemeanors?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
We'll do that. I'm going to sentence you as follows, Mr. Tank. You spent 6 months in jail when you were first arrested on this. You were arrested on or about the time it happened, and you didn't get out for 6 months. So I'm going to give you credit for those 6 months. I'm going to sentence you on count 1, which has been reduced to disorderly conduct, to 12 months to serve 6 months with the balance on probation. Count 2, which has been reduced to pointing a pistol, I'm going to sentence you to 12 months probation. That's going to run consecutive or after your other sentence. So basically, you're going to have 18 months, a year and a half of probation. I am waiving your probation supervision fees. Basically, the government is paying you. We don't need to then move that money to another part of the government. So you'll have no supervision fees. The most important condition of your probation is that you leave Ms. Smith alone. You know where she lives in the apartment complex?
I don't even know her.
Good. So, but if you see her, just turn around and go the other way, okay?
I sure will.
Good. Number two,
I don't know nothing about it.
let's keep it that way. Number two, I want you to keep up your treatment at the VA.
Yes, sir, I do that.
And any medication that your doctors prescribe, you take that medicine.
Yes, sir. I do.
If it makes you feel bad, you talk with the doctor and they'll give you different medicine, but you don't decide all by yourself, I don't need this medicine anymore, okay?
Yes, sir.
Finally, no guns in the household. It sounds like they're none, but don't go get any either now that you're getting this ankle monitor off.
Yes.
If someone finds a firearm in your apartment, to me, that's almost as bad as you bothering Miss Smith. And there'll be bad consequences for that. Otherwise, you live your life as you've been doing it for 79 years, mostly staying out of trouble, serving our country. And as Mr. Tolles put it, you're in your golden years. You may even be like in your bronze years by now. So I want you to stay safe and take care of yourself,
Yes, sir.
and you leave Miss Smith alone, okay?
Yes, sir. I'll make sure I do that, sir.
All right. Now, misdemeanor probation probably will just be something you do over the phone. You might once, with your sister helping you, have to go meet them. They have an office about 2 blocks from here. But they're probably going to reach out to Mr. Tolles to say, how do we get in touch with Mr. Tank? And Mr. Tolles is going to help build that bridge. Do not ignore probation, because if they can't find you or you're not returning their call or doing whatever they need you to do, then they reach out to me and then I get frustrated. Mr. Tanks, all you need to do is call them back. So make sure you follow their directions, okay? And if at any point you're confused by it, you reach out to Mr. Tolles. He can help you navigate.
Yes, sir. I'll make sure I remember that.
Ms. Dilligard, anything else on behalf of the state?
Nothing further from the state.
Mr. Tolles, I'm assuming it's a county-funded ankle monitor, which means now it's Second Chance that is the entity that will be removing that. And so I'm going to rely on you to reach out to Second Chance, the bonding company, and they'll give Mr. Tanks instruction. They probably won't come to him. He'll need to go to one of their offices to get the ankle monitor off. But the ankle monitor's been on for so long, it probably was a different bonding company back when it went on. Your brother's not paying for the ankle monitor, is he?
Yes, sir, he is.
Oh my gosh, he is. Okay.
$305.
Well, that's going to end now. That's a lot of money. And I take back what I said about Second Chance. If he's paying for it, it may be a different vendor. I don't know. You'll know he's paying that money.
We know it's Telex.
Oh, Talatrix. Yeah. So you reach out to Talatrix. If they don't immediately say, here's what we're supposed to do, let Mr. Tolles know, he'll let me know, and I will lean on them. Because that should be no longer a stream of income for them or an expense for your brother.
Thank you.
Okay? Mr. Tolles, anything else on behalf of Mr. Tanks?
Yes, Judge, the 180 days that you did mention, there was an additional, another.
There was, because he didn't come to court. So I'm giving him credit for the time I'm going to give him credit for, and he's going to be on probation for 18 months.
It wasn't that he didn't come to court. It was because he got revoked.
Whatever happened, it may have been the Veterans Court
Yeah,
situation.
yes.
Be that as it may, that was separate conduct, unrelated to, he was in for 180 days to the day on these charges, unable to make bond. He bonds out, he's in Veterans Court. That ends in a way that's not favorable for your client, but those consequences are due to different conduct and not the conduct that forms the basis for his plea. So I heard you and I see the numbers here. I'm giving him credit, getting rid of 6 months of that probation for the dates in custody that are directly related to what happened with Ms. Smith. And then that just gives us an 18-month buffer to make sure you are doing what you need to do and Ms. Smith is able to do what she needs to do. You're not paying supervision fees. And really, other than maybe having to call probation once a month, this is going to be pretty low impact. No ankle monitor, nothing. Okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Tolles, anything else?
No, well, there was, what is the piece of paper he's going to need to show, the ankle monitor?
There'll be a final disposition that I will sign probably today. Today's a little zany. I might file it tomorrow. Ms. Nelson can get you, if you can't get it through Odyssey, Ms. Nelson can email you a PDF of it. But my guess is Talatrix will say, where's the final disposition? So it may be a day or two, but I'd call them today saying, hey, my brother just pled guilty. What do we need to do? And they'll say, where's the final disposition? I'll get that to Mr. Mr. Tolles can get it. I don't know how he'll get it. And then they'll just need to see
Might
that.
come through Odyssey.
Yeah, it'll definitely come through Odyssey. And if you're able to get that, then you just get that to Mr. Tanks or his sister, and Talatrick should do what they need to do. All right?
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good luck, Mr. Tanks.
Your Honor, that's my only case, but I'll be excused.
Yes, sir.
So, as it turns out, he's been a bad boy before, and he's already done 6 months in the clink that Judge McBurney then left off the back end. He'll still have probation and programs, and this time, hopefully, he will learn the consequences of his poor choices. What do you think about GPS tracking of defendants out on bond and probationers? Do you think that the court should be leaving it up to third-party vendors at significant additional expense to the tract? Chime in down below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me, and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.